Hello there, I'm Stephen Michael King, and I've been doing energy work since the 1970s, training with many different energy masters, doctors, and scientists and healers all over the world. As many of you know, 7 figures has been invested in my training over the last few decades. We've done a lot of work with live imaging. In this video, the 6th of the series, we're going to talk about mudras, some of how they work, a few of them, how to do them, phrases of power, and how mudras operate. Now, there are finger mudras, there are body mudras, there are different kinds of mudras. Think of your body, think of it as an antenna that sends, receives, and transforms and processes information. When we sit in different poses, the different poses, just like different hand and finger combinations, they rewire our acupuncture meridians, and they rewire a bit our chakras to be more application specific. That's why some mudras are great for one activity, but terrible for another thing, and so forth. So when you learn how to use mudras, especially from what scientists have learned by how they affect electrical flow in the body and how they affect photons and ions and so forth, it really can dramatically multiply your abilities, your skills, and how you do them. There are many things that are happening with the mudra. Some people ask, well, what does it do to brainwaves? Well, the answer is, it depends. Some mudras will bring you down into an alpha theta state. Some mudras will boost your brain activity up into, a gamma state, which is even higher than a regular beta state. And a lot of mudras, well, you can go in between from delta to gamma easy enough. And so it really depends on the mudra, on the application. It depends on, do you know the phrase of power that goes with the mudra? Do you know what colors of energy to project and to flow while you're doing the mudra? There are things such as how you're focusing your energy, what energy centers are you focusing above your head, in your body, beneath your body. Many different things can affect mudras. So we're going to talk about 15 common mudras that many of you may have seen a lot, and talk about how to use them and also how not to use them. That way you get what you want and you don't get what you don't want. So we'll begin with the very simplest of mudras. Now, when you're touching your thumb to your fingers, basically, while you may notice that some systems have some different labels, that usually depends on other factors, how they're flowing energy as well. As a general rule of thumb, most systems take it as being like an air, fire, water, and earth. What's meant by that is here would be a finer vibration, a little bit lower, a little bit lower, and a little bit lower vibration. So when you see this mudra done, the chin mudra, the advantages to it is it makes your energy centers from your heart upwards and the energy centers above your crown expand quite a bit. It is excellent for dispelling thought forms. It's excellent for clearing your field. It is excellent for somebody who is all lower chakra. They got plenty of money. They're really great at manifesting. Money's flooding in everywhere. And their challenge is spirituality, where, from their solar plexus downwards, big, strong chakras, and heart upwards, their chakras aren't that strong. That's where you would use the chin mudra. Now, the disadvantage to it, and this has been learned by a lot of schools, is that it shrinks the energy centers from here downwards. Well, there might be times you want to shrink your solar plexus center, but you still, for most applications, you want a strong navel, hara center. You want good, strong sex center. That's your creativity or rejuvenation. And you need your basic center to materialize, to manifest. That's why a lot of people say, this one means no money. So you want to be careful that when you're doing this one, just for short periods of time, and be kind of specific about what it is you want to dissipate. Because if you sit there a long period of time, if you scan your basic chakra before and after, or if you look at the electromagnetic properties coming off of the basic, or if you look at the electrical flow through the meridians in the lower part of the body, you see that the electrical activity lessens substantially. Now, the opposite effect happens when you do this mudra here with the middle finger. The middle finger, this is what you see usually used when people are using it for materializing something. Either this one, or sometimes the two together. And you'll notice that when they want to make something manifest, like for example, money, they'll think of what they want and their palm is pointed down towards the earth. And you'll often see them, they'll get in the space where they're mentally seeing it, they're imagining it, they're saying good things to themselves, they're getting really good, strong emotions, they've got their tongue to their palate to activate the meridians forming the what's called the microcosmic orbit, which basically is your back meridian and your front meridian connected as a circuit, which increases electrical flow. You'll see them doing strong, full, deep breathing to generate prana, and they're sitting there doing like this in a clockwise pattern. The clockwise vortexing is to imprint, to cause a field to be imprinted. So when this happens, what we see happening is all of the energy centers get big in a very balanced way. That's why people still have the intuition and psychic stuff of the upper centers, but very important, the money, because let's face it, you can help more people if you have money. You can be more spiritual and be able to share more and help more people overcome their problems if your phone is working, your internet is working, your overhead is covered, and you've got the ability to help people. Now, if you're in a monastery in a cave and people are bringing all your food and you don't have to fend for yourself, feel free to use this one to your heart's content. But if you need to materialize something, then focus more towards here. Now, a lot of your mudras are also used for psychic self-defense. For example, you'll see a body mudra like this. You'll see a mudra like this. You'll see people sometimes interlock fingers, which is good for helping to close the field and open up stuff. For a lot of psychic sensing, you'll see us doing like that with the middle finger. You'll see us doing sometimes more complicated positions, which I'm going to show these ones up close. They have different uses for different results. We'll go into those in a moment. Another simple mudra that is very, very common, that is very, very good to know and very good to use, you'll see, is the mudra where the right hand is on the bottom, the left hand is on the top, the thumbs, you'll notice, are forming an ellipse. Not like this pointing upwards, which shoots the energy up the body, but like this, so that the energy, when you're meditating, comes in and it goes into your navel, into your dantian, into your hara, into the lower cauldron where your golden chi is stored. This is the one that we typically do during long meditations, and if you're in a meditation where you really, really love the energy and you want to store the energy because you really enjoy it, this is one of the mudras to use to pack the energy in. Now, there are other mudras. A lot of mudras also have a mantra or a biji sound or phrase of power that goes with the mudra. For example, your different energies, often called shaktis, for example, have different mudras, different hand and finger positions that trigger the energies. And it's a combination of the finger and hand positions and the phrase of power, and if there's an ideogram or a symbol or other things used, and there may be different bandhas or locks, like for example doing a root lock, which is where we will contract the lower muscles in the pelvis. You'll contract your sphincter muscle, you'll contract the muscle that you would use to hold your urine in, for example, and that helps to shoot the energy upwards. Like a very common one that you see in a lot of energy work would be the mudra for Ichi Shakti, which is 3 fingers together, and the phrase of power for Ichi Shakti would be 3 fires unite. In other words, fire by heat, fire by friction, and solar fire. So when you're using an Ichi Shakti mudra and you're thinking, okay, 3 fires unite, sometimes we'll run a beam of energy, say down a center line or in through a chakral stem of an area that we wish to clear. Or you may see us do a beam of energy going down the channel to clear. Or you may see us doing a beam of energy going down some of the secondary channels. Or you may see us shooting it into an acupuncture point, for a specific reason and a specific purpose. Sometimes we're touching, sometimes non-touching. And you'll notice that the energy has it's kind of funny, they call it Itcha Shakti, I-T-C-E-H-A, and yet it can have kind of an itching or piercing feeling. This one is a very cutting energy. Now, another example of mudras, and you'll see these a lot in the Japanese ninjutsu, in the Chinese kung fu, very, very powerful, incredibly powerful for working with the chakras, energy systems. Many of you may have heard the mantra, Ling Ling Doju Jane Sun Lie Zai Chen. And you may have even found it where they says, well, just think of what you want and then vocalize Ling Bing Do Ju Jai Sun Lie Zai Chen. Well, you do that after you anchor each of those different parts of the mantra, the biji sounds, to each actual mudra. So when you're seeing the Japanese ninjas using these moves and others using them that have figured out the same things with the same positions, it's because they activate the chakras in different ways. Like, for example, the first one, Lean, like L-E-E-N, like leaning over or leaning towards something, that's this mantra that's mudra right here. In this mudra, you're simply intertwining your fingers and you're sticking these fingers upwards and your thumbs upwards like this. The energy shoots in the direction of the fingers pointing outwards. So you can use the mantra like the mudra like this and just say to yourself, lean, lean, lean. And you'll notice when you're holding the energy, this really, really activates the basic chakra, and this activates the chakras in the knees and in the feet. It's a very, very grounding symbol. You'll notice that a lot of healers, a lot of Qigong masters, you'll see them use the symbol to heal somebody, to draw energy, to point energy, to flow energy. They'll do it into their own energy centers, for different things. It's a very, very powerful one. It helps a whole lot with really, really focusing the mind as well as the body. This is one of the control the mind, control the body kind of mudras. So again, to get into the position, your hands first interlock your fingers, then you close the fingers, then you put the index fingers together, and your thumbs are going to rest right on the knuckle inside there. I'm going to go walk towards the camera so that you can see. In the next mudra, which is Bing, remember Ling Bing Doju Jai Sun Lie Zai Chen, this one here, what it does is it opens up the chakras from the navel downward, and part of what they call the sea-bottom chakra, which is basically the lower part of the trunk. In this next mudra that I'm going to show you, you'll notice that it increases your energy to 3 to 5 times that of a normal person. You'll notice that this is great for increasing your health. It really, really is excellent for the sexual stuff, for psychological stuff, and it really increases vitality as well as your spiritual energy. Now this one, if you watch me, this one's a little more complicated. First, you're going to cross your fingers like that. Then you're going to interlace the remaining 2 fingers together like that. Then your thumbs touch these middle fingers like that. Now again, the energy flows out the direction of these fingertips. So you'll notice what happens. If you sit like this, the energy goes out away from your field. You would use this if you're wanting to point a whole bunch of lower chakra energy towards somebody for, like, say, healing bone, healing tissue, things that would require a denser energy. But if you're meditating with the symbol, then you're going to want the fingers to be parallel to your central channel. In other words, parallel to how you're sitting or lying down. Now, again, on this one, I'm going to walk towards the camera so that way you can see what it looks like from my side. So this next one here, the symbol, which the phrase for it or the sound is do. This one is really great for the sex chakra. This will definitely increase your sex energy, major big time, when used properly. And also, the other nice thing about do is it's very good to build courage and to build confidence. It's very, very great for use in fear. Now, on the do one, the way that the symbol does is first you're going to interlock these two fingers together like that. These fingers, these remaining two, stick upwards. And your thumb position is going to be right here like this as well. Okay, so your thumbs are touching this last remaining knuckle in a line there. Again, the energy flows out the fingertips. So, like, if you wanted to send a whole bunch of sexual energy or courageous energy or creative energy at somebody, then you would aim the mudra at them while you're flowing energy in through the applicable chakras. Like for this one, you can actually, like if you wanted to flow a bunch of sexual energy to somebody, you could bring the energy in through your sex center and out through the fingertips. So this is one, when you see the ninjas doing that one, this helps build courage. So just like when they say, hey, that person's got some really big balls or whatever, that's what they're talking about, is having a very strongly developed or strongly activated sexual chakra. So again, the phrase of power of this is do. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to walk towards the camera again so that you can see from my perspective how do you get your fingers into the position in the first place. And again, if you wanted to meditate and you wanted to bring your creativity up, you again want to make sure that the fingers are pointing parallel to your central channel unless you're flowing energy in. Like, for example, one way of bringing your sexual center into your ajna, for example, is like that. And you can actually feel the energy flowing through your fingertips, especially as you use it. Now, by using the actual name of the symbol with the biji sound, like again, in this case, do, then what happens is, if you were to just do the mantra, Ling, Bing, Do, Ju, Je, Sun, Lie, Zai, Qian, since you've already anchored the energy in your body for Ling, you've already done that. You've already anchored the energy for Bing, you've already got it. You've already anchored the energy for Do, so you've already got it. So let's look at the next one. The next one, which develops the navel chakra, this one is called Ju. So again, Ling, Bing, Do, Ju. And it looks like this. It's really a very simple one. You take the middle fingers are together, interlaced, and your pinky finger and your index finger and your thumb are like this. And then you go ahead and just allow it to be like that. Now what this one does is, by having this upwards like that, it resonates up your central column, and yet it still closes and really makes very, very strong your navel center or your hara or your dantian area. This is important for strong personal power, and also that's where your golden chi is stored. So when you see people like Master Zhou Tangzhu from the Wudang Monastery, where you see him boiling water, using just his focus and concentration, and you see the pictures of him using an infrared camera where the heat is 120 plus degrees, that's because he's got a really, really well-developed navel center there. His whole dantian area, very, very powerful. And you can actually develop a very hot, fiery energy by developing your navel center as well. Now the next one in the series of symbols is J. J is a symbol that works with, it's one of the ones that develops the heart chakra. And it also develops psychic sensing, because psychic sensing relates to the heart. And this is one we do naturally. It's where you simply interface the thumbs. So anyhow, on this symbol J, you'll notice that there are a couple of different ways of doing it. One way is this way, the other is this way. The difference is this way here tends to shoot a lot of energy upwards towards the centers and recycle the energy. This one here tends to send the energy in loops, and it includes the upper centers in the loops. When I use the symbol, most commonly, I'm crossing my thumbs. So when you find yourself often having this symbol in prayer or in contemplation, this is one of the ones that's used for that. It's also used for tuning into another, although it's not as strong as the next one for that. So this symbol, again, the phrase or the sound that goes with it is J. Like a jaybird, or like the letter in the alphabet, the letter J. The next mudra that we're going to talk about is the Mudra-use. The Mudra-use is kind of the opposite. All your fingers interlace, except they are together going inwards, and your thumbs are simply interlocking like that. This one also, J, really strongly develops the heart and the throat chakra. When the heart and the throat chakra and the temporal chakras here on the sides of the ears, when these work together, this is really great for telepathy and for receiving another's thoughts. If you know how to go inside somebody's head or inside their body, this is one of the ones that you would use to be able to perceive their thoughts as you learn to be able to access it and work with the energies. This is why oftentimes when people pray, they find themselves here and holding their hands when they're in a state of just being open and receptive, quiet, and listening. The next symbol, Lie, and this is another one where I'm going to get close to the camera so you can see it. This next symbol, Lie, this is very, very good for developing a wide variety of psychic abilities and for controlling and manipulating energies, and also working with space and time. There are a number of these that are good at working with space and time. Some of the ones I just showed you, I'm going to be doing another video where we go in detail, and that's where we learn to use the symbols in greater detail at manipulating time and space, manipulating energies. But in the meantime, in keeping with the intro video, this one lay, it's really very simple. You take your fingers like this, your thumb, lower thumb is on the inside like that. Your index finger is upwards. And you can switch hands, it's not a big deal which hand you use. Most people use their dominant hand for the upward finger. So all that's happening is you're taking there, you're wrapping inside your thumbs right there, inside there, and then your two upper thumbs are hitting the two meridians on the sides of your index finger. So I'm going to walk closer so the camera can see it. You can see that you've got one meridian ending here, one meridian ending there, so you want to be like that. You can do it upwards like that as well. That's a slightly different application. This is a fantastic one for developing psychic abilities. Okay, on this one here, I probably don't need to go behind the camera because it's pretty obvious. Now let's talk about developing clairvoyance. The last one, and together with the others, work towards clairvoyance substantially. Another one, and you see this in plain sight, This one also is used for developing clairvoyance. So this one would be Zai. So again, when you're dealing with the phrase Ling, Bing, Do, Ju, Lie, Zai, Chen, this is Zai. Zai is done like this. The thumbs are together, the index, like that. This is one that I often will use when I'm blessing the earth. If I want to make it stronger, I'll have the earth about this big in front of my hands, in between, and I'm looking through it. Now, if you do this, this is a different one than this. So you want to have your thumbs more straight. So what happens is you look through the center, and you imagine what you want taking place in this space that is between the thumbs and the index fingers. This is also one where when you do it, you'll want to do upwards. It depends on, do you want to activate lower clairvoyance or do you want to activate higher clairvoyance? Lower clairvoyance is here, higher clairvoyance at an angle. So see, I'm looking upwards, basically through my forehead chakra. And I'm looking at what I want, and I'm imagining it. If I want to activate crown a little more, then I bring my energies up higher. And again, you'll notice when you look at your hands here, you'll start to see what looks like, a plasma around your hands. That's actually starting to see your energy field. And so these kinds of mudras, especially when you do them while laughing for at least 15 minutes or longer, you'll start to see energy fields in full living color pretty easily. So that one is Zai. So let's talk about the last one in that little series, which is Chen. Chen develops the crown chakra, and it's a very quiet mudra. What happens is you're going to take one hand like this, and basically you're going to make a fist with your thumb on the top of the fingers. So not a fist like in a fight, but a fist like here. Yes, there are a few systems that use a fist like that, but that's a good way to hurt your thumb in a fight. So, fighting is this. Chin, your lower hand is like this. Now watch what happens. I've got my thumb sticking upwards on top, and it's going to rest. It's going to rest right here at this inward crease, the fingertips. Not this first crease on this first pad, not there, but the next crease, the second pad. So my hand is here, my hand is here, and now, if you can look and see, you'll see that my hand is held outwards, kind of like a leopard's paw, and my thumbs are basically right about touching. So I'm going to go up close so that you can zoom in like that. So when you sit with this one, you're going to go ahead, you keep your fingers curled in. You're going to have your palm, this palm right here, for example, over your navel. Your tongue touches the roof of your mouth. And if you want a more active meditation, you slide your tongue towards the teeth. If you want a more passive one or more psychic one, then you slide your tongue towards the back of the palate. So when you kick back like this, you'll notice that your crown starts to get very, very big. Now the difference between doing this one and, say, doing the Chin Mudra is that this one keeps your lower chakras big also, and it really opens the central channel quite a bit. The central channel is extremely important in psychic sensing. So that's how you do Ling Bing Do Ju Jie Sun Lie Zai Chen. So again, to review those few ones, and yeah, I cheat sometimes to make sure I cover, Ling, Bing, Zhou, Su, Jie, Sun, Lie, Zai, Chen. Now, a lot of you have noticed that the interlocking symbols tend to be pretty strong. And I showed you very quickly a favorite one that is great for both psychic protection and telepathy, good for sending and receiving. I'm not going to reveal phrases of power or what colors to use in terms of do you flow gold, do you flow magenta, do you flow sparkles, etc. On this one, that's more for the webinars and stuff. I've got to keep some stuff, to keep my bills paid. So what we do is we interlock these fingers here. We leave these other fingers open. These fingers are going upwards. Whoops, I was thinking of it. See, here's the difference. You see this other one, mudra like that, which again, there's your Zai. Now the difference between Zai and this one is in the details inside the fingertips. I'm actually making this mudra and this mudra, and I'm interlocking these fingers. It's the interlocking of the fingers that does the loops through the acupuncture meridians and central channel in a very specific way. So I'm going to go closer to the camera. I'm going to rotate my hands so that you can see it from different directions. And so pull the cord so they can hear. This mudra, it depends on, are you sending energy to another person? Where are you aiming your fingertips? But since that one is not designed as much for that, that one's designed more for here. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your index fingers and the edge right on your heart chakra, like this. So you're going to meditate that way with your fingertips upwards. Remember, the fingertips are part of the antenna, just as that is. So again, in using mudras, remember that the energy flows out the fingertips and out positions. Remember that if you want to cultivate energy down here, if your thumbs are suddenly going this way, the energy shoots upwards in the direction of the thumb tips. If your energy is more like that, then it goes where you want. If you're sitting here and you're using, this one here for the C bottom, and yet your hands are going outwards like that, where you're sitting here going bing. Well, if you're shooting bing like this, the energy is going outwards. If your energy is like here, pointing upwards, then the energy shoots out these fingertips here, and it shoots upwards towards the energy centers above your head. And it causes your whole central channel to line up and the beautiful energy to come raining down all over you like a present from above. So if you want to learn more details, then subscribe to the webinars, subscribe to the audios. And thank you very much. In our next one, we're going to be talking about the use of symbols and ideograms, different ways of breathing in energy into the symbols, the effects of colors on different symbols, the effects of how different lock-ins are done when symbols are done, different phrases of power. There are about 20 factors that influence symbols, and some symbols really show up with equipment and absolutely affect agriculture, and others somebody meant well, but it doesn't really do a lot. And like with anything, the difference between heaven and hell is often in the details. So thank you very much, and Atma Namaste.